The main reason why I decided to ditch my smartphone about 4 years ago is because I was spending around 12 hours on my phone. The main culprits were Netflix and social media apps like Instagram. I did not want to spend the rest of my life doing that, and I decided to make an intentional change for that. In the beginning, I used the tools that were in my phone, screen time. I put my phone in a lockbox sometimes. I tried to re-engineer my relationship with my phone. And at the end of the day, I still felt like the item itself was designed to take a hold of me. And then I said, you know what? I don't want this. I actually don't want this in my life. Since then, I tried so many different setups. And finally, I found one that works for me.
It's why we've designed a phone to be used as little as possible.
My name is Joe Hollier, and I'm the co-founder of the Light Phone. The Light Phone is an intentionally simple, minimal cell phone that is designed to be used as little as possible. We realized that there's this really great value in getting off of the internet and still having that peace of mind that you have a cell phone. The Light Phone is almost better defined by what it doesn't have, and it will never have any infinite feeds, any advertisement-based platforms. It's never going to have an internet browser, which is kind of infinite whole, and it's never going to have email. What it can do is what we call, utility. We really try as much as possible to have it be something that you can't just find yourself picking up because you don't know what else to do. I think when I first was introducing people to the idea of the Light Phone, it was a very polarizing reaction. And I think we've seen that conversation really change throughout the years. When Apple released their screen time feature, I think not only did individuals start to actually have a metric to see, wow, I didn't think I was that addicted, but I spent 4 hours yesterday, but also the larger landscape, our manufacturing partners, it was kind of a signal that, wow, Apple's kind of admitting that this is not just such a niche problem, but actually something fundamentally affecting a lot of their users. Now people aren't like, why would I ever get that? It's more, oh, I wish I could, but, and there's still a lot of hangups, infinite excuses is why you might want to have a smartphone at any given time. But I think each year more people realize, hey, maybe I do want to get away from the smartphone.
When I first got rid of my smartphone, there was a lot of anxiety because it had a lot of information that I needed. Just getting around town was difficult for me in the beginning, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. But then you start re-engaging with the world. You kind of start easing up those emotions of being uncomfortable, and you start regaining a lot of more personal agency. Honestly, I call my family more now than I used to when I had a smartphone. I was able to finally reel in my time and how to use my time. And because of that, I prioritize human interaction more now than I used to. So I call my parents weekly. I call my friends on a regular basis. I'm more intentional now.
We've seen people, kind of go back and forth, and maybe the third time they try the Light Phone, they're really able to make the habit stick. And we see a lot of similarities to things like a diet change where, you can buy the blender, but it actually takes a lot of work to go get the vegetables every day and to commit to the regimen. So, buying the Light Phone is one step, and then it's really amazing to see when users are really self-empowering themselves and committing to this lifestyle change.
Personally, I use the Light Phone 2 as my personal device, and then I have a device called the Jelly 2 as my work device, which introduces a lot of friction, but it's not impossible. And that's something that I'm really happy to report after 4 years. And you also get to learn how to do things in the modern world without a smartphone.
And I think that that's kind of like the secret to this whole challenge, being outside more or doing other activities.
For me, the mental health part has been very big. I feel like I'm more calm, more present, definitely less anxious, less jittery, You have more time to just think and sit and be, you know what, I'm a little bored, but I can think about this thing that's coming up, or I can think and process maybe a negative experience that I just had.
I think we were hesitant at first to use the word addiction when talking about smartphones, just because it's such a heavy term. But more and more as the science comes out, it really does feel like that's one of the best metaphors for trying to break our smartphone habits is, trying to break an addiction of sorts. I think it's really become a nervous habit for so many of us that like just waiting for a few minutes, that instant boredom, we find ourselves just pulling for it as a crutch. And I think that's really where the hard part of it is. And so what we tell people when they go light is to think of things ahead of time that you might want to do, so you're not confronted with this sort of blank page of, okay, now what? Maybe that's books you want to read or movies you want to watch or something you want to learn or do. So that way, when you're confronted with that uncomfortable feeling that is, being a human, you can channel that energy into something and not just, kind of have a nervous breakdown.
A dumb phone is the easiest and highest friction way to recover your time and attention. But if you don't want to introduce to your life a lot of friction, there are certain methods that the community has found that are helpful. So one of them is using apps that intercept your mindless use. So for example, there's an app called Clear Space and another one called 1Sec. They are the same concept. A lot of the usage that people have is because they don't consciously choose to use their app. So what these apps do is they intercept the app and they present you with a choice. Do you really want to use this app? Another strategy is to delete, all the apps and restrict them with an accountability partner. So Screen Time has a passcode, but if you let somebody else set up that passcode, then the responsibility is on them to give you the passcode or to, allow you to use your phone. Finally, they find devices that are older and they're like, okay, this is cumbersome to use. I'm just going to use it for like the necessary thing and I'm not going to be on a rabbit hole.
I don't think I've had a smartphone in over 5 years now, and I definitely can't say I miss a smartphone at all. And I think the most important thing isn't just the hours, which you can quantify, but just like the quality of your trains of thoughts, not being so distracted. When you're on a walk, you're thinking through and not just kind of 5 seconds of this, then you see 20 different things on Instagram, an email that you didn't reply to. My favorite personal thing about it is separating the email and having this dedicated laptop that when I close it, I'm consciously leaving email behind.
I'm okay to miss out. I'm okay to not be as, engaged or to have all of the conveniences. You get a lot of joy out of missing out sometimes because you're focused on the things that you truly want and not on the things that the algorithm wants.